Welcome, everyone, to the UFC on Fox 29, Dustin Poirier versus Justin Gaethje, sixth-round post-fight show with me, Zane Simon, and my co-host, Eddie Mercado.
Hello.
Welcome back, Eddie. We all missed you last time.
I missed it also. You know, I can't get enough. So when I can't be on the show, like my internals hurt. It's like I menstruate. Can I say that?
No.
Can we go there?
Okay. No. Okay, I'm already.
Anyways, the blood gods are happy nonetheless because the main event was absolutely everything that everyone hoped it would be and more.
Yeah.
Yes, so excited, man.
I mean, I am shocked and pleased to see Dustin Poirier win that fight that way, because the way it was going, I mean, I was thinking about scoring the third round for Gaethje, because at some point you had to give him credit for all the clear damage he was doing to Dustin Poirier's leg. Like, he hurt him with the shot. He was hurting his leg. I was like, okay, this is at some point, even though Dustin Poirier's landing way more shots, you got to start thinking, you got to start scoring a fight on damage.
Right.
And
that counter right hand was really what was like, okay, you deserve the round 3. However,
but it was a 9-9 round with the point taken even, which I'm okay with. I'm okay with the point taken. He did it twice. He got warned the first time, take a point the second time. Eye pokes are fucking brutal. But to see Dustin Poirier in a brutally hard fight that was trending towards exactly how Gaethje wanted to win, and come back and stay strong, stick to his game, stick to his volume boxing, stick to landing hard shots, to slipping shots. I'm fucking impressed as shit about that.
Yeah, it's like he turned a corner, you know?
Yes.
It's like you can still lure him into a brawl, but like at some point he's going to be like, wait a minute, what am I doing? Let me get these long strikes going. Yeah. And that's really what won him the fight. It was just a counter right hand, might have been a left. I think it was a right cross when Gaethje threw one of those kicks. Yep. And then Gaethje goes stumbling backwards, and it's like, okay, now's the time to get all crazy and start brawling. Like,
which even then, my worry was even then when Gaethje's all spindling backwards, that's often when he starts coming back with hard hooks, and you got to be like, watch yourself at every moment. But late in round 4, after eating like 250 strikes to the head, at some point it's safe to pour it on, and just a marvelous performance from Dustin Poirier. Didn't do anything about the leg kick at all, but he stayed composed. And staying composed for him, that's a huge deal, because that was exactly why I wasn't picking him going in. It's just like, if he starts getting beat up bad, if he starts getting hurt, if he thinks he has Gaethje really hurt, he's not going to stay composed, and he's gonna get hurt even worse.
I couldn't trust Poirier to stay on the outside pumping his long strikes. I felt like at some point he's going to start brawling, which he did. But like you said, he did nothing about the leg kicks until he did. He finally was like, all right, I'm throwing this punch down the pipe as soon as the next kick comes. And it basically won him the fight. So
after that, he called for the title shot. And I mean, right now, the way lightweight is, like, it seems pretty clear that it's not, Conor McGregor's not fighting Khabib unless the pay-per-view numbers for Khabib versus Alex Quinta, are like through the roof. If Khabib is suddenly just like a pay-per-view star, then the UFC can probably get Conor to make that fight. Otherwise, everything else kind of feels like Conor's kind of going like, hey, what about that, that GSP fight? GSP sounds like an awesome fight for me right now.
Yeah, they would have to do like Khabib, Conor in Russia.
Yeah.
That's like the only way I can see that actually going.
And so if it's not going to be Conor, it might, but if it's not going to be Conor, and if Tony's, his knee might be on, put him on, it might heal fast enough on track to get him back in when Ramadan's over and all that for Khabib. If it doesn't, though, you're looking at Alvarez and Poirier as your top contenders for the shot at the belt.
And I'm okay with that. And they have unfinished business now that you bring it up. So I'm not even against.
Happy to see Alvarez and Poirier fight in the next couple months to determine a singular top contender to fight Khabib when he comes back from Ramadan. That'd be cool.
You also have Barbosa and Kevin Lee about to get it in next week. So that adds a little weirdness up there at the top. It's exciting weirdness, though.
They're a step back from Poirier and Alvarez. I gotta feel like at this point.
They are. However, Kevin Lee is really great at running his mouth and talking himself into fights, and the other two aren't. So I can see Poirier and Alvarez getting suckered into a number 1 contender, and Kevin Lee kind of skeets right by him if he gets the win over Barbosa, which is going to be tough.
Either way, it would be nice to see, like, if the UFC can make one of those the Tony or the Khabib or the Conor fight happen. Awesome, I would love to see it. But otherwise, it would be nice to see the lightweight division just keep moving again at the top.
And I think it'd be nice to see Poirier get a shot. Like, talk about someone who's paid their dues. Like, he's taking his licks. Like, give that man a shot.
Nah, I mean, he's 23-5 at this point, and like he got into the WEC back in 2010. So he's been, fighting under the Zuffa banner for 8 years now. Got into the UFC at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8-0, and he's now 23-5. So
that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy to be at the top for as long as he's been at the top, and like getting better still. Give the man a damn shot.
Yeah, I wouldn't be sad to see it. For Gaethje, I mean, it's starting. Mookie said it on Twitter, and I can't disagree. These have been 2 amazing, awesome fights, but it does feel like he's now establishing a ceiling as like a top tier action fighter, but a clear cut below the title challengers. Like, these are hard fights he's putting Eddie Alvarez and he's putting Dustin Poirier through, but you can't be a dude who's getting starched by the top contenders and still be in that level. Like, you can't, that doesn't.
Those are really, really tough losses.
Yeah.
But we've seen both of Alvarez and Poirier have each taken pretty bad losses also.
True. And Poirier to, guys like Michael Johnson and stuff like that. But I mean, well, it's Michael Johnson, Conor McGregor, but it's just back to back like that. It really feels like Gaethje is going to fight this game, and it's still a deadly, really hard game to solve. But the elite fighters in that division are finding solutions.
Like, if you're tough enough to weather the storm, like you can take them out late. That's what we're finding here. And whereas when he was in the WSOF, the caliber of opponent was much less, so he could get away with those late round finishes that he was doing. But
it's one of the most underrated things about the whole idea of levels of competition, especially getting up into the UFC, where people are like, oh, the regional level, it's just as there are a lot of tough guys out there too, and every dude in the UFC, with very few exceptions, is like the toughest dude in the world. Even if they're not the most talented, even if they're not the most athletic or the most skilled at all the time, they're almost always the toughest guy. Like, these are, especially when you start getting up to the top of divisions, into the elite, all those dudes are just so damn hard to hurt. You
know who I need to see Gaethje fight? 2 people. One, Michael Chandler, but that might never happen. We have to wait. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Nate Diaz.
Don't even throw the name out there. It's like a boogeyman. He's just sort of out in the ether. It's like saying I wanted to fight Bigfoot. I saw him once, and it totally happened.
I need to see it. I want to see it.
Yeah. I can get that. I get the feeling. I mean, I'd be happy just to see him fight somebody like Edson Barboza too. I know he'd probably do bad things to Barboza with his pressure, but just all the leg kicks in that fight, I'd want to see all of them.
But see, Barboza can stop the leg kicks and throw some of his own, so that's pretty intriguing. Yeah, but Nate Diaz is a way more exciting fight.
I don't believe Nate Diaz exists. That's all there is to that.
That's very fair. That's
all right. Before that, the co-main event, Alex Oliveira beat Carlos Condit, and man, it wasn't as sad a fight as I was prepared for. I was prepared for Condit just kind of getting controlled, and for a lackluster, just kind of dull Oliveira win.
Yeah.
And he couldn't do that. He couldn't stay on top of Condit and keep Condit down on the mat, even when he got him down. He couldn't keep control of him, which was great to see. It made that fight way more thrilling. That submission he locked up at the end, that was fucking brutal.
That's pretty sad. It was me. I've never seen like a more vicious arming guillotine. Like the way he had him up against the cage, it was like, is Condit unconscious? Like, hey, referee, can you get in there and take a closer look? Because I can't tell if he's moving or not. And, man, that was tough. And he got cut like right before that sequence. He's like gushing from the head, bleeding all over Oliveira. Oliveira scrambles out, and Condit like goes for this double leg and just leaves his neck out there.
It was that up kick that Oliveira landed off his back, rocked Condit, and then as he scrambled up, he's shooting in on a bad double leg, and that's exactly how you get choked out, you know?
Yeah, but Condit definitely at the end of his rope here. They need to rebook him with Matt Brown and that let them both just kind of ride off into the sunset after this old display of violence. That's my if I had my say, that's what would happen.
It is interesting to see with Condit though that he's not like the durability isn't totally gone yet. He's not a durable fighter still. He's still never been knocked out.
Yeah, he's tough as hell.
The gear, the second gear, the third gear is gone. Like you saw him standing, and Oliveira is just like out there, like doing the side-on stuff and all this like kooky karate shit. I don't even know if he landed a strike standing at all. But neither did Condit. Condit's just sitting there like watching and not pulling the trigger. And the idea of a Carlos Condit who doesn't pull the trigger standing. Like
it's not Carlos Condit.
It's not Carlos Condit. Even if he can compete on the ground, even if he can still like do nasty things from top control and be like have a grappling game and stuff like that that's very competitive. I don't want to see Carlos Condit going that like slow Josh Berkman route where it's just suddenly like every fight is just nothing happening at all.
Oh man. It's really a sad sight. Like former interim champion.
Yeah.
Like, man. Like he almost beat GSP. He beat the first George St. Pierre. He couldn't beat the second.
Yeah.
The George has got him. The plural George has got him. But he was like right there.
Yeah.
And now it's like you just got choked out by fucking Alex Oliveira.
Big win for Oliveira though. I mean, he's still aggressive and fun and tough as hell to watch. His striking's kind of a wild mess, but he's going to make everybody hurt that he fights, and you can always kind of guarantee that.
And he's won 5 of his last 6, whereas Condit has now lost 5 of his last 6. So it's like, why was this match even made outside of the short notice?
That is literally the only reason. Before that, Israel Adesanya got a split decision over Marvin Vettori, and I don't know what that one judge was watching, but it was about as clear a two rounds to 1.
That first round was close.
It was not that close.
It was that close.
Nah,
you look at a lot of things. Look at all the numbers, whatever. If you go and watch the fight itself, a lot of passivity was going on for Adesanya. A lot of feints. Like
but
it wasn't that clear. So if a judge gave it to Vettori, I'm not even that upset.
You're killing me, Eddie. You're killing me. I feel like it's a clear like people not watching striking round where it's just like Adesanya's landing all the harder shots. He's slipping most of Vettori's shots. Vettori is still landing some, but it should just be a clear Adesanya kickboxing round.
But it wasn't just kickboxing. There was also other things going on. Like it was just a close round. You're saying the round wasn't close?
Nah, it wasn't so close.
You're crazy.
Let me put it this way. It was a clear 9-10. Like it should just be a 9-10. It's not like a 10-8. It's not a blowout or anything, but it's just a simple 9-10 classic round that everybody should be able to.
Can you recall to me one single strike that Adesanya landed that was significant?
I mean, I can't
recall. The answer is no, because he didn't land anything really significant in that opening round. So it was a close round.
It was not that close. I'm disappointed in you.
We'll agree to disagree.
Also, though, like I feel a little both good and bad about. I remember Connor said in our breakdown pre-show, if Marvin Vettori doesn't come out wrestling in this fight, then that's just a huge knock on Kings and Rafael Cordeiro, and like he could not get Vettori to stop kickboxing until round 3. That was.
I think the big knock is that Vettori didn't come out and trying to brawl. Like, he was trying to go move for move with Adesanya. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, who came up with that game plan? There's no way Rafael Cordeiro was like, okay, you got what it takes to go strike for strike with this phenomenal kickboxer. Like, let's go do that. It's like, nah, man, like, you deserve to lose if, like, that's your game plan. Like, I honestly believe he would have had way more success if he tried to bully Adesanya. Like,
bully him
and aggressive.
Shoot in space and shoot in ways that, like, just a right hand to a double leg or a right hand to a low single leg. I mean, that's the kind of stuff he got him down with eventually late in the fight. Was he stopped, like, early on, all of his any takedown attempts he had where he pushed him up against the cage and then tried to go for like a trip takedown from body lock and
inside trip at that.
Yeah. It was just
Vettori looked really bad out there. Like, he was overreacting so bad to the feints. Like, Adesanya was in his head the whole time.
Yeah.
Really in round 2, though. That's when it really started picking up.
Yeah. Good. And Adesanya, to his, he does look bad if you get him down in open space. He got back up, which is a good credit to him. Also kind of a poor credit to Vettori's top game. But he clearly has some major gaps when it comes to pure defensive grappling, scrambling, and open space takedown defense. And hopefully this fight shows him that, or, the next guy that faces him needs to know, like, you gotta, shoot in the middle of the cage. Don't let him get his back.
We saw that in his first fight. Was that Wilkinson? Like, Wilkinson was able to get him down and stall him out against the cage. So, like, we kind of knew going in that those were his weaknesses.
Yeah.
And, like, he's so down to fight so often. It's like, is he really taking out the time to improve before he's getting back out there? Or is he just like, hey, I need to get as much as I can while I can? It's like that.
Yeah, that's a good that's a good point too. It might be the kind of the kickboxing and boxing ethos where you're just like, now I'm gonna fight like every month if I can, every 2 months, and not really, what I'm staying busy in the gym. I'm putting in work and training and whatever, but I'm not doing like a dedicated, okay, I'm just going to spend like 6 months working on this or something like that.
But, we'll see. Eventually, he's going to face a real wrestler, and we'll really find out what's up.
Yeah, hopefully, in the meantime, the UFC just keeps booking him at they don't start keep pushing him up the division, Don't give him Antonio Carlos Jr. or something like that and be like, oh, this will be a fun fight.
Oh, no. Yeah, slow play this guy for sure.
Still, I mean, I think that it's one of those things that I'm happy with the win for him. Adesanya getting back up repeatedly in the 3rd round, late in the fight, handling Vettori's pressure without problem, slipping and rolling and doing all that stuff.
His head movement is so beautiful. Yeah. And that elbow, he landed an elbow, and Vettori thought he was poked in the eye. Like, no, bitch, you got fucking rocked. Like, that was an elbow in your eyeball, not a finger.
Yeah, no, it's the kind of thing where you can clearly see if Adesanya can keep putting together other pieces of his wrestling and grappling games, he's going to be an incredibly difficult fighter for people to deal with in that division.
He's so smooth. He's so smooth on the feet. More, please.
Vettori, they need to implement more of RDA's game into him right now, because right now being super cut rate RDA is not paying the bills.
Super discount RDA.
Yeah.
Man, he was so herky-jerky out there. Like, he was such a head case out there. It was tough to watch at times.
For that, Michelle Waterson beat Courtney Casey. And before I start saying anything, who'd you score it for?
Oh, you're going to throw me under the bus first.
I'm going to throw you under the bus.
So, in all honesty, I gave it 29-28 for Courtney Casey.
Yeah.
Reason being, I gave Courtney the 1st round because of damage.
Yep.
Obviously, the heavier hitter.
Yep.
And I gave her the 3rd round because she was going for submissions.
Yep.
Like, she was out there, and in my eyes, a submission or submission attempts, especially as close as they were, that's being close to finishing the fight.
Yeah.
In rounds 1 and 3, Courtney was closer than Michelle ever came to finishing the fight. So
I gave her all 3 rounds, frankly.
That's fair. Like, that's absolutely fair.
Even in round 2, the strikes are reasonably close. Courtney Casey looks like she's hurting Michelle Waterson more with her strikes. And then when Waterson gets on top, she's landing a little ground and pound here and there, some nice elbows, some nice punches. But she's also mostly fighting off armbar after armbar after armbar. And I want to see that kind of aggression rewarded a lot more than I want to see, like, oh, she defended him. And it's like, okay, great. Defense is its own reward. The aggressive attacking, grappling should be rewarded. And if you're clearly hitting the other person harder than they're hitting you, otherwise in the round, like, I really don't like Michelle Waterson getting this win. I like Michelle Waterson a lot, and I don't like Courtney Casey's game. I hate that she defaults to grappling off her back, and I hate that she punches herself right into the clinch where she can easily get taken down with her terrible wrestling. But I gotta reward her. I want to reward her kind of aggression more than Waterson landing a lot of much less damaging strikes and then getting top control
and defending for the bulk of the time.
Yeah.
And like, I'm such a Waterson fan, so I'm definitely fighting off bias here.
Yeah.
Like, scoring this for myself, and any round could be given to Casey. Like, she just was closer to finishing the fight in basically every round.
Yeah.
The second round was close. I gave the second round to Waterson, but I couldn't give her more than that. And I think she honestly is just a legitimate atomweight and is just fighting up because there is no atomweight weight class in the UFC. So she looks so much smaller than Casey.
Yeah, but she's even said that she never wants to cut to atomweight again, that cut is brutal for her. So it's not even a lack of weight class thing.
Well, she's small. She's really small out there.
Yeah. Either way, I mean, it's a good thing for Waterson. That kind of win, bouncing back from 2 straight losses, it pushes her back up into big fights at the top of the division, and a tough setback for Casey, who mostly just through really terrible fight IQ and game planning keeps putting herself a knock below being able to climb the division at any point.
I think a good thing for Casey, though, is it's a division full of people coming off of losses.
Yeah.
So, like, she has so many options of where she can go, and I don't think she'll really fall that much in the rankings. If you look
it is just it's a worry for her that she is going to be fighting. She's going to be fighting the judges anytime she can't finish a fight because the way she fights is antithesis to what judges want to score.
Yeah, and it sucks too because she's really talented and she's powerful and strong and big, and she just can't really tie it together so it works for her.
For that, Antonio Carlos Jr. beat Tim Boetsch. He almost kind of fell into the trap. He was trying to hang and swinging and banging with Boetsch for a little while there.
Until Boetsch caught him with that one overhand right, and then like, oh no, sure, we're going.
And then he tried to default to the high body lock takedown trip that he liked, but find out Boetsch is really good at fighting out of the clinch and fighting clinch breaks and doing damage inside. And then he dropped to that double leg, and man, Boetsch just still doesn't have any answer to a low takedown.
Yeah, and when you give that up to Shoeface, you're pretty much done.
Yeah.
Like, the dude's ground game is wicked. It's phenomenal, and not many people can really deal with that.
Yep.
So Shoeface is on a 5-fight winning streak, and 4 of those have come by rear naked choke.
Yeah.
This dude is strangling the division.
Yeah, it's good for somebody his size, too, to be able to get to the back like that because, he can put so much weight and pressure on people that it's not hard for him to get that rear naked choke when you're able to just smash people at that point.
Man, I really want to see him fight Jacare just because I want to see him grapple. But, like, he's not ready for that kind of leap. But
I don't know. I mean, if he does right now, I think it would just kind of be like more of a comment on Jacare's age and, like, the idea that he may not have it to compete with the young guns anymore.
Or Jacare would knock him out on the feet.
Or Jacare would knock him out standing. I would love to see him compete with somebody like Derek Brunson at some point soon. Somebody's
that's
going to be wild and just kind of go after him with crazy shit. And it's like, can you take this dude down? Because he's going to be chasing after you with all sorts of crazy stuff.
It's going to be like, I don't know, maybe it won't be, but maybe it will be. Like the Dan Kelly fight.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think he should probably fight like Morishina next.
Yeah, maybe. That would be fun if he ever recovers from his bodybuilding injury.
Who saw that coming?
No, I don't know. How does the super ripped, muscly dude end up with a biceps tear?
How did Lou Ferrigno tear his bicep?
Anyway, good win for Carlos Jr., a win he had to get, and new blood at the top of middleweight, which needs all the new blood it can get.
Every single drop.
For that, Muslim Salikhov put it on Ricky Rainey, and man, Rainey, like...
He tried.
He looked good for a while, but you can't just do the, like, I'm going to sit out at range and do the low-paced walking into you, throw the occasional strike fight with the dude like Muslim Salikhov, you know?
Yeah. I gave Rainey the first round, though.
Yeah, really, I did too.
Clinch knees were beautiful. He let his hands go a little bit, but round 2, it's like, okay. The patience of Salikhov just really paid off.
Yep.
It was just one right hand, and that was kind of it. So the plan worked, but like I really don't like his chances of that plan working going forward.
It's the kind of thing that keeps Salikhov as an interesting, weird action fighter that's going to get thrown into a whole bunch of random. Like I just want to see him fight, like do that Abdul Razak Al Hassan fight again. That fight would be fun as shit. You know, Al Hassan has a great chance of taking it, but if he doesn't, Salikhov's weird, King of Kung Fu style is going to make it super fun.
I love that so much. The King of Kung Fu.
Yeah.
I just hope he didn't give it to himself. If he gave it to himself, we got problems.
I don't think he did, but it's a good point.
But honestly, beating Ricky Rainey, though, really means absolutely nothing.
No. It was a fight he had to win just to be a relevant action fighter in the UFC at all. Like, are you going to be a dude who puts on fun fights in this division, or are you just we're just going to feed you to a chain of Alex Garcias who stomp you out? So...
Yeah, because that first round, I mean, Salikhov was like one leg kick, like one punch. It's like it was boring. Like his style was boring in that first round.
Yeah, I mean, he's a singularly dangerous fighter who needs that kind of like low and slow output style where he's just figuring out, waiting just to get that one right weird strike that nobody sees coming to land, time you perfectly, and then it's super violent, but. Before that, John Moraga beat Wilson Hayes, and I'm really impressed with John Moraga in this fight.
Dude, he was phenomenal. He was grappling with Wilson Hayes, like escaping submissions, landing ground and pound. Like it was crazy.
I thought Wilson Hayes won the third round pretty clearly.
Yeah,
but the fight went exactly the way I expected, picking Wilson Hayes to win, which is that Moraga would jump on submissions to fight off takedowns. And would let Hayes get just enough of his boxing started to get takedowns. But Moraga was able to find the much bigger, cleaner strikes in the first 2 rounds when they were standing. And then, he fought off Hayes' grappling attack every time well enough that it never gave Hayes momentum until late in the fight. So just a fantastic performance from Moraga against an opponent who really seemed like he would have a style made to beat Moraga's do everything, initiate all parts of the fight style.
Especially, so Moraga was super successful early on with his hands, like really letting him go, connecting. His footwork was phenomenal. He was obviously much faster than Hayes. And then Hayes shoots in, and Moraga locks up like a guillotine. And I'm like, no, what are you doing? But, like, I guess he's good enough to grapple in typical flyweight fashion. Like, they all can pretty much just hang with each other at the top.
Yep.
And landed a couple flying knees when he got back to his feet and picked up enough points in rounds 1 and 2 to pick up the decision. So I'm super glad that they gave it to Moraga here.
Yeah.
Part of me was like, oh, shit. Because the announcers were like, I don't know who won this. Hayes might win the round if he takes, win the fight if he takes this round. And I'm like, I gave the first 2 to Moraga. So I don't know. So I'm glad it wasn't like a robbery.
Hayes had some grappling control, but you get shellacked with a flying knee like that. And Moraga clearly was doing pretty well early in that round. Like, just give Hayes the round off of like a late takedown in some dominant grappling position.
Yeah, I'm really happy that Moraga got the win, and that's 3 straight wins for him. So he needs to fight Henry Cejudo. He needs to rematch Benavidez, or he needs to rematch for the title. I don't care about anything else. That's it. Anything else for him is fucked up, and he's not going to be around forever.
He's actually one of the oldest flyweights in that division, which weirds the shit out of me because he does not look it.
He doesn't look it, but like if you just think back, you're like, yeah, Moraga's been fighting forever.
Yeah, he's been around.
When was his? When did he fight Mighty Mouse? When was that?
I actually saw that fight live. That was all the way back in 2013.
Wow. So yeah, I'm cool with him getting another go. Like who else?
Somebody's got to at this point with DJ. Might as well just throw anybody up there.
Why not Moraga?
Yeah. Before that, Brad Tavares beat Krzysztof Yahko, and spectacular knockout for Tavares. His first one in like 8 years, I think. 7
Since
years.
2011. Phil Baroni in 2011.
And I was picking Yahko, and I had this inkling of a thing of like, if Tavares can just shut down the clinch and shut down the wrestling, maybe Yatko's game will just fall apart. And I still picked it. I still thought Yahko would keep the pressure on, not fall into Tavares' slow-paced kickboxing game, but nope, he did.
And he did, and he struggled with the pressure.
Yep.
The pressure really made him gun-shy. And, like, you can't be gun-shy in this sport. Like, when you see your openings, you have to take them. And it just wasn't – he just didn't. Like, for whatever reason. It was too passive and too much – Tavares had too much control over how the fight was taking place. And
really nice performance for Tavares. The kind of performance where you see it and you're like, Tavares really should be like, he should be one of the division's elite fighters.
Like, I can't think of a recent better performance, honestly.
No.
Like, this is the first time he actually looked elite. Like, he had a specific strategy. Like, he's like, I'm going to be aggressive. I'm going to be offensive.
This is the best he's looked since he beat Lorenz Larkin. And that was just like a complete one-sided shit kicking. And I was like, oh, Tavares has something now. This is it. And then he got just, controlled by Romero and knocked out by Tim Boetsch, and then went on to a string of – it got knocked out by Robert Whittaker and a string of lackluster fights around it that nobody cared about.
Yeah, he's one guy that I don't get excited if I hear Brad Tavares is fighting.
Yep.
And it's like, is this an exception here, or is this the rule going forward? I still think it's the exception.
It's probably the exception, but it is nice to see. I think what it really is it a defensively oriented kickboxing style based on takedown defense and countering and keeping your defense, your hands tight and all that, and just your technique simple. Like, the longer you do it, the better you get at it, the more opportunities you have to make something big happen with it. And we saw that paralleled with Alejandro Perez earlier in the card too, where he's just, he's defending takedowns, he's on his back foot countering, he's keeping his hands up, and then he cracks Lopez and just puts a beating on him.
Yeah. So excellent win for Tavares, who's ranked number 15. He's been in the top 15 forever, I feel like.
Yeah, he just never rises above 15, because then he gets a little momentum, and then he gets one of those losses where you're like, oh, okay, that's it.
And the funniest part is he called out Michael Bisping in his post-fight interview, which is definitely a fight I don't want to see. But to be fair, I don't get excited for Brad Tavares' fight. So
yeah,
I definitely
everybody calls out Michael Bisping. That's what you do if you're a middleweight. That is the middleweight rule. You win a fight, you call out Michael Bisping.
He'll probably get Thiago Santos
after
Santos beats David Branch next week.
If he does. All right. Before that, Gilbert Burns knocked out Dan Moret. Moret was doing pretty good there for a minute, put a scare in Burns. I was surprised at how willing to just throw hands Dan Moret was. But then Burns took him down and just kind of like wrecked his shit with grappling at the end of round one. I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe I get it now more why you just want to keep this standing. But Moret, we've seen in the past, fights he's kept standing. He's there to be hit. He gets a bit exposed, and Burns eventually, folded him like a lawn chair.
And he walked away like a boss. He's like, you know what? This is another walk-off knockout. Back-to-back walk-off knockouts. Are you kidding me? From the jiu-jitsu guru?
Yeah.
At 155 pounds? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, he needs to...
He's scary. He's getting scary on the feet.
Yeah, he's still got to mind his P's and Q's a bit. He still got cracked by this grappler dude who was just swarming him with stuff over and over again. But he's definitely gotten a lot tighter technical, a lot more confident, and a lot harder to just shut down with pressure. Like, Moret definitely went after him and did the thing that other people have done to beat Gilbert Burns standing. But Burns did a lot better rallying back from it with his own strikes this time.
And he called out OAM.
Yeah.
OAM might be in a little trouble.
I like that fight a lot. I think that's a great. I think those two are in a really similar place right now, where they've both been working on their striking for a long time, and they've seen some returns from it, and then they're otherwise really excellent grapplers and wrestlers when the situation strikes. So I'd be totally down to see that fight.
You know what's going to happen next. Like, yeah. I can't. They're already like going back and forth on Twitter, so
yeah,
that's something needs to happen.
For that, Lauren Muller beat Shanna Dobson, and I kind of feel like Dobson won that fight. Honestly, like it was close. I don't have a problem with it.
I gave it 29-28 Muller. I gave the last round to Dobson though.
Yeah, that was the thing to me, is that I thought Dobson.
Oh, you know what? Oh shit, I'm lying. I actually scored it for Dobson. I gave Dobson the last 2 rounds.
Yeah, that's what I did. I thought the first 2 rounds were split pretty evenly. Dobson rallied back in the second, looked good, and then Muller was winning the third, pretty, like, running away with it. And then Dobson hurt her to the body, and she looked like she was hurt bad. Like, that to me is like being badly wobbled from a shot to the head.
Oh yeah, same thing.
Like if you got a hand over your stomach and you're staggering around trying to protect yourself,
doing the Derek Lewis, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Like you're losing that round. That is clear and obvious damage that's close to finishing a fight. So I know Muller still controlled most of the round. She still landed more shots than Dobson in that round, but I want to see damage like that scored really heavily.
It should be. Like, whoever is closest to finishing the fight in that round should win that round, in my opinion.
Yeah. That's
like, why is that not a thing?
I don't know. Still, I was actually pretty impressed by both women. It
was fun. Back and forth, like cool clash of styles and limited lulls. There were really no like downtime in the fight. So pretty fun, competitive throughout. I liked it. And in a division that's really, really shallow. So it's important for people like this to get rounds in.
Dobson looks like she's developing quickly from and also ran on tough into somebody who could cause a lot of problems up that division in the future. And Muller also, she's just got a really strong bullying pressure style that's going to win a lot of fights.
Yeah. So. And like, I really like the way Muller was throwing her wide hooks. Like they were sneaky and they were effective, but I didn't think she won that fight.
No. But that's okay. Both women look good. For that, Yushin Okami beat Diego Lima. Yeah, I hoped Lima would win this, but I picked him on the hope that he would get a knockout and make Okami look old. But Okami just was like, oh, you can't defend anything at all in a fight, Diego Lima? I guess I'll just do anything. I'll just wrestle, and you can't defend that, so...
I have a rule against picking Diego Lima. I can't do it.
No, I can't do it either, but I don't know.
The most shocking thing about this entire fight was Daniel Cormier had the nerve to say that Okami beat Anderson Silva.
I know. That was terrible.
Oh, no, he didn't. No, he didn't.
Dude.
Also, the most exciting thing about this fight, also.
I will say, though, the only thing I did like about it, probably as a whole, was DC and Cruz actually getting along together and talking just constantly about how bad Diego Lima's wrestling was and all the things he was doing wrong. And like that actually made it interesting to me because it was like a constant play of like, no, you see, he's not going for this and he's just getting swamped again. Like
they really found common ground with the wrestling.
Yeah. That was nice because it keeps Cruz from being his like embittered hater,
He is a little bit of a disgruntled,
Yeah. Always. Otherwise, nothing to see in that fight. Diego Lima finding another way to lose. Yushin Okami wrestling 3 rounds of victory in a way that I can't care about at all.
Why are these guys in the UFC?
Because they needed somebody to fight OSP on 2 minutes notice, and Okami was like, yeah, I'll do it.
What's Diego Lima's excuse?
He went through another season of Tough, and
that's right.
They signed him because he won fights in the Tough House.
I'm so done watching both of these guys fight.
Yeah. All right. For that, Adam Vishorik gets the second omoplata in UFC history, beating Arjan Buller. And I remember I saw in this fight, like early on, Buller just touches Vishorik and Vishorik tips over,
Typical heavyweight takedown.
Yeah, as I think it was Phil McKenzie said on Twitter, a defenseless but dangerous attack giraffe. And Buller's on top of him, and he's pounding on him, and just in his guard, and Bajork's stuck. And I was just like, nobody who has takedown defense this bad should win against somebody whose wrestling is this decent, but it's heavyweight, so I'm not calling this. And then lo and behold, a round later, Buller gets omoplated, and you could see he had no idea what was going on when that omoplata started getting wrapped up. And the foot came across, and he's like, whatever, I'm just going to turn out of this, and it's fine. And then his shoulder's getting wrenched out of its socket, and you're like, and he has to tap, and that's it.
Yeah, and shout out to Ben Saunders, who scored the first ever omoplata. Big fan of Bloody Elbow, contributor in the comments, always, longtime fan. And we have the second one. So super rare, and even more rare that it happened at heavyweight. If you told me a heavyweight was going to pull out an omoplata, no. I would ask you about whatever you are inhaling and if you can send some my way, because that never happens. Like, you don't see slick submissions at heavyweight.
No.
Like, you see like caveman, you see strongman Kimuras and things like that. Like, you don't see
Americanas, all that shit that you never see in any other division.
Yeah. So an omoplata, like, that's what's up. Jiu-jitsu on the map.
Even Vishork was like, yeah, that's never worked for me before, so I'm pretty surprised that it worked this time.
Yeah, like, it's never worked in any role I've ever done with anyone ever. But it worked here on the big stage to earn me a win bonus. Like, that's crazy.
That is awesome. For that, Alejandro Perez beat Matthew Lopez, and, kind of like Brad Tavares, like I was saying, it's Perez with this really tight, defensive, boring game, but as he's getting more technical, that's starting to turn the corner and open up more possibilities for him.
And he's in really good shape.
Yeah.
He's in great shape. His cardio is phenomenal. Lopez was sucking wind there in the second round.
Yep.
Like, he was gassed. And I think that's really what did him in. Like, after he went for that takedown and Perez was like instantly swam for the underhook, I'm like, oh shit, Lopez is in trouble. And then he just like manhandled him and like popped him with the knees and it was a wrap. And what's crazy is both the Trevor Whitman's guys lost by standing TKO tonight.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah, it is tough.
That's tough.
Yeah, Lopez, he's obviously a good athlete. He's obviously aggressive and all that, but he's still, like, not a good striker and a really unstructured fighter. Just doesn't really seem like he's ever consistently setting up to attack something. Like, he did better this fight to just go out and go after the takedown immediately on Perez. But that just seemed to exhaust him because he's so, like, he seems like the kind of fighter who fights on a ton of adrenaline, who's just constantly, like, pushing and hyped up and trying to outrun his opponent. And
like Justin Gaethje.
Like Justin Gaethje a bit. But works better for Gaethje. Gaethje thrives on that more.
Gaethje has the chin for it, and he has the conditioning for it.
Yeah. Doesn't cut any weight, which Lopez is a huge bantamweight.
Yeah. And that's got to be just something he carried over from his wrestling days, because Gaethje wrestled at his natural weight.
Yep.
Like, he was never a big weight cutter, which, it matters, especially as far as chin and cardio goes.
Yep.
But Perez, man, excellent showing. Excellent show for him. And I would like to see him get a bigger name now, like an Eddie Heinlander, like someone who's like an old veteran who's kind of on their outs. Let him get a name win now.
But at this point, he's on a 6-fight unbeaten streak at bantamweight. Like, you got to start giving him something, throw him a bone of some sort.
Yeah, nothing too much though. Like, I don't want to see him up against Rafael Assunção next. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but what if he fought Thomas Almeida?
That's interesting. I think Almeida's really nice on the feet.
Yeah.
I don't know if that might be too much too soon. I think I'd rather see him fight someone just older. I want to see him fight someone older, not someone who's like in their
fine,
coming into their prime. Also,
Yeah,
there you go. That's fun. I'm down. I would like to see Yahya fight anybody.
And after that, Luke Sanders beat Patrick Williams, and pretty solid performance from Sanders. He did well to beat Williams up early, but I say I was a little surprised at how poorly Sanders was able to control the pace against Williams. Like, he clearly won every round of the fight. He clearly did enough to win, but he really he let Williams fight the fight at his pace and kept getting stung for it all throughout the fight.
Man, I feel so many different ways about this. Like, Williams was gassed in the first round.
Yeah.
Gassed in the second round, but like full of air in the third round. Like, how does that?
Well, you get to rally back. You get that second wind. It's a thing.
It's crazy though. You don't really see it like that. Like, gassed in the first, gassed in the second, and like fresh in the third.
I know.
But so Sanders comes out and he's doing awesome, and then typical Sanders fashion, he lets his opponent back into the fight, and I'm like, okay, here we go. This is where Sanders almost wins and then blows it, but he didn't. He regained his composure, came back out there in the third, did what he had to do. It was good to see him not blow it.
It was. I'm just worried that as a guy who looked really sharp regionally coming up, he got to the UFC on like a 10-0 perfect record, or something like that. It's kind of becoming clear in the UFC that his wrestling isn't good enough to implement that part of his game. And he's getting stuck just kickboxing with people, where his kickboxing isn't that deep. Like, he's tough and he's got a good gas tank and he can fight hard for multiple rounds, but he gets tagged hard a lot standing by everybody. Like, not just by Andre Sukumtab, but now by Patrick Williams.
Yeah, that's the worst. That's even worse. Sukumtab's a striker, so whatever. But Williams, a gassed Williams is tagging you. Come on, dude.
So
even in his Alcantara fight, he was beating the dog shit out of him, out wrestling him. Yeah. And then it's like, oh, knee bar, what?
Yeah. So I am worried with Sanders that he's just going to become stuck as a kickbox. He's going to get stuck in the part of his game that is least likely to be competitive against elite talent.
He's the new Maximo Blanco.
Yeah. Well, he did kill the old Maximo Blanco, so
At least there's that.
He took the mantle.
They passed the baton. So
there you go. All right. Overall, though, damn fun. Fun card. A lot of fun fights. Even if I didn't love decisions for Courtney Casey, Michelle Waterson, or Lauren Miller, Shanna Dobson, I thought this card was pretty fun.
And the pacing was really. There were so many bouts that it was just one after the other, which I love. I hate sitting there and having to wait for the next one to come up. They
did have a huge drag after the Michelle Waterson Courtney Casey fight. They didn't start the next Adesanya Vettori bout for a full hour, until the hour had passed.
Right.
They got through the last three fights in pretty good order, so I can live with it.
Yeah, and that main event, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
An instant classic. Yeah. Instant classic.
Fantastic fight. No complaints there. We'll be back next week following UFC Atlantic City, Barboza versus Lee. In the meantime, you can find me on Twitter at DZaneSimon. You can find Eddie on Twitter at TheEddieMercado. You can find both of us over at BloodyElbow.com. Give us a like. That's a thumbs up down there. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, MMANation.com. DOTCOM, all spelled out. You'll find all the latest Bloody Elbow shows, videos, news, analysis. We'll have If I Did It, Heavy Hands, Care Don't Care, Vivisection, all that good stuff. MMA Circus next week. So tons more content for you. Tune into everything. Like it all. Share it all. Whatever. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you next time.